you. Okay, it is right at 9 a.m. So I would now like to call to order the January 12th, 2022 meeting of the Indiana State Board of Education. Roll call, please, Chad.
Mr. Bess.
Here.
Ms. DeLosa.
Here.
Mr. Durham.
Present.
Dr. Ernest.
Here.
Dr. Freitas.
Present.
Mr. Gastineau. Mr. Mapes.
Here.
Ms. Moat.
Here.
Ms. Renschler.
Here.
Mr. Watts.
Here.
And Dr. Jenner.
Here.
Thank you. We have
So
a quorum.
Thank you, Chad. So at this time, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll point out there's a flag behind me, or Mrs. Renschler, you're in the perfect spot. There's a flag behind her as well. So at this time, let's go ahead and please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we'll move to State Board of Ed Officer Slate. Do we have a motion?
I would make a motion that the officer slate remains the same as it was this year for the year of 2022.
So, we have a motion and a second that it remains the same, which would mean I will remain the chair, Katie Moat, the vice chair, and William Durham, the secretary. So with a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
With a motion and a second, all in favor?
All right, we're good.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from December 15th,
So moved.
2022 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
With a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. So at this time, I'd like to share a few updates for you. We've heard across the country as schools have started to get back into session with in-person learning. We see occasionally flashes of headlines about in-person learning. And I wanted to share with you, our board, and also the public, the status of Indiana schools last week. Our schools, yet again, did a really nice job getting students back in person safely. Nearly 90% of our 1.1 million students across the state were attending school safely in person last week. We had about a 5% absent rate, which is typical. The absent rate obviously could be due to a doctor's appointment or the student being out for other reasons. We typically hold about 2% are virtual, full-time virtual students year-round. That remained. And then about 3% were virtual due to COVID-19. I will tell you that is slightly up from where we ended the year. If you remember where we were fall semester when I gave the final December report, we were hovering at about 1 to 2%, depending on the week. So we did see about a percentage point increase in virtual due to COVID, but nonetheless, really incredible job throughout the state. So despite the headlines that you might see in certain areas, we are in person in Indiana. And again, a huge thank you to our educators and their staffs for making that happen. I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to the College Football Playoff Foundation and the College Football Playoff Host Committee. I know from our board, BJ Watts and Pat Mapes were both very involved with this. And if you had the opportunity at all to attend any of the events that were all designed to go the extra yard for teachers, or if you maybe followed some of the teachers who are present on social media, it was an absolute celebration of educators, elevating the profession, and really just celebrating the work. So we started Friday night with a welcome party. Then Saturday at 8 a.m., we started the Extra Yard for Teachers Summit, which was an all-day long professional development for teachers. Hope and Wade King came to Indianapolis, as well as several other big educator names and some surprise guests. On Sunday morning, we did the Extra Yard 5K. It was cold, but it was good. A lot of people turned out to kind of, I guess that shouldn't surprise me for all the exercisers, but it was very, very good. That Sunday evening, we had the Taste of the Championship dinner, where chefs from around Indianapolis were, set up, and that event evidently set the record for the country in terms of attendance. We had more people attending in Indianapolis, the Taste of the Championship dinner, than we did than any other city has ever experienced. And then finally, at the big game, Georgia versus Alabama, there was an incredible celebration of teachers. We had educators holding the flag, the big flag during the national anthem, and of course, an honoring of teachers on the field. And if you followed some of the articles about the weekend, some of what I read at least is yes, it was cold. But it was the people who made it happen. All of the Indiana volunteers, and they were even welcomed at the airport. So just really appreciate to everyone who made that such a success. Last night, you may have read or watched, Governor Holcomb gave his State of the State address. He highlighted a few specific things that I'd like to share with you very quickly. He highlighted the $1.9 billion in new state funding over the biennium that the General Assembly passed, of course, last session, which was budget session. He also shared for the first time teacher pay data based on that. And so I'll share it with you as well. More than 85% of school corporations raised teacher base salaries by an average of nearly $1,800 this school year. And 99% will raise salaries in the next school year. Also, the goal the General Assembly set for new teacher salaries to be $40,000 by July 1. 80% of schools have already achieved that goal. He also shared the work ahead and really focusing on developing strategies to expand access to early learning for students, as well as attracting more educators into high need roles like STEM, special education, through a statewide supply and demand marketplace, as well as, again, continuing to work with our schools and community partners to strategically accelerate student learning. He mentioned, of course, when he rolled out his agenda, that was actually the same day we had the board vote last month. As well as he mentioned it last night, the Indiana Graduates Prepared to Succeed dashboard that the board is leading on, and really celebrated that as well. So those are my updates for today. Obviously, we're leaning in big time on preparing for the February meeting to give you a report out on the dashboard, specifically the data infrastructure and experience and what we've learned from stakeholder groups. So at this time, are there any other board member comments or reports? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Hey, great to see you all. We'll see you in person next month. Take care.